Thanks for listening to That Great Mank Pod. Please do us a massive favour and subscribe to this podcast. And if you can, leave us a review on iTunes. Both are a massive help, enabling us to promote the people and the great causes we champion to a much bigger audience. If you want to get in touch, give us a follow on Twitter at Great Mank Pod and drop us a DM. Cheers.
You're listening to That Great Mank Pod, Greater Manchester's community podcast. Top one, kid.
It's it does. It does. It does get better.
Different.
Yeah. It's a different better than what you've ever known.
Yeah,
I always say, Paul, when people have kids now, I just say, right, give up now. Right, just you've lost your own identity. You've lost your own thing. Any aspirations or dreams that you had, they've all gone now.
Well, put it this way: I'm only 25. Right, Damien's 21.
I had flowing locks at one point, Paul.
Oh, mate, I'm feeling that.
No, you'll be all right for a few years, yeah, mate. Listen, Andy, it's lovely to meet you, mate. If you can, because this was an intro. I've heard of you guys. Absolutely heard of you out and about. All good things, by the way. And I'm not just saying that. And you'll probably know from speaking to us, we're far too old to be blowing smoke up anyone's arse. and there are plenty of wrong-uns out there who aren't doing much community-wise and getting shed loads of money for it. And then there are ones that are doing some really good stuff who are getting money and not getting money. Some are shouting about it, some aren't.
Yeah.
But you always tend to hear the same names popping up. We had the Anthony Seddon. Trust on. Spoke to Ben there a couple of weeks ago, and it's the same with them. I'd never spoken to them before, but heard of them, and it was always good stuff. And it's the same with you guys. But that's not to say we're completely aware of who you are and what you do. So can you just give us a brief introduction?
Yeah, of course. So we're Made by Mortals. We're based in Tameside, obviously in Greater Manchester. We're all about creating a community of creative citizens. And what we mean by that is our community is made up of professional artists, so writers, actors, musicians, etc. It's made up of university researchers, health and social care practitioners, and most importantly, it's made up of people with a range of different lived experience who are willing to kind of share that for the common good. So together, that community of people work together to co-produce podcasts, films, music theatre shows and events. And our aim is to kind of bring people's experience to life through those various art forms. So we're creating what we hope is high quality arts and cultural experiences. We're helping improve people's health and well-being. And we're also about kind of challenging stigma and health and social inequalities. So that's kind of what we do, really.
And sticking smiles on faces.
Yeah, absolutely. Like sometimes we're tackling, serious issues and very emotive topics. But if you walk into any of our workshops or sessions, everyone's having a laugh. It's all about fun, humour, inclusion, and everyone's having a good time whilst they're making that work.
It's got to be, mate. I mean, there's a lot of deep stuff that we have this conversation all the time. It's where something's happened, so he'll ring me late at night or I'll ring him later at night. It always starts off as a WhatsApp, and then when your thumbs get tired, just go in bed. It's easier to do let's just speak to each other. And if you it's a particular thing that we're both struggling with work wise and stuff. So you've got to, and if you like I said, you're dealing with really heavy stuff. So unless you put some kind of spin on it in some respects, people won't watch it. It's overload, and you've got to put if it's a serious subject, then obviously you've got to do it. You've got to portray it seriously, but you've also got to get people to watch it in the first place. So it's it's a very fine line, isn't it? But certainly in the background, keeping people smiling when you're doing something that's really rough is that is an art.
Yeah, in the making of it, whatever we produce, like I said, like all the sessions, it's made from scratch with this community of different people. But the sessions are fun. We use participatory arts as that's what we are. We're a participatory arts organization, and we using those methodologies and the ethos of participatory arts. It is inclusive, it is fun, it is collaborative, and then I guess so that's kind of in the making of it, but when it is actually produced and we're passing it on to audiences that perhaps aren't involved in the making of it, you're right, it does have to be, it has to be accessible, and I guess the way we do that is we provide a lot of hope in our
mate,
work.
that's
And I
such
think
an
that's really
important work.
important. You know what I mean? It's really difficult times at the moment, and people are going through a lot, as we discussed before, and it's really important that there is that hope out there.
That's a word that comes up. Me and Paul, all the way through the pandemic, all the way, and the cost of living crisis, the conversations we have, we know things are shit. We can see how things are going to go bad and stuff like that. But we always talk about that word, hope, because anything that we do should be giving people a sense of hope, and we will get through this. Mucking together.
Yeah.
I know it's a bit sort of blasé and overused in some ways, but rally together and we will get through it. Do you know what I mean? And things will be better at some point. I mean, the important thing there, Andy, is we're involved in the same sector in lots of ways across Greater Manchester. And there's far too many projects out there that are pushing education and trying to push an agenda or an awareness, and they forget to be entertaining.
Yeah.
So you'll go into the event, you'll come out of it feeling like shit. You might have learned a little bit, but I'm not, you walk away thinking, I wouldn't recommend that to anybody. I feel awful now.
I'm going to bed. I'm going to bed. Yeah.
I think with that, and going back to the hope thing, I think certainly across our two main programs of work, people understand when they come to it as an audience member or as a participant in the making of it, that they've got a real purpose to their involvement.
Yeah.
So, for example, one of our programs, Hidden, that when people are making it, they know that it's going to be used and in training workshops for in public health or social care, or it's going to be used in PPIE, which is like patient and public involvement and engagement for university researchers. So by them sharing their lived experience, or the artists sharing their creativity, they know that it's not a means to an end, that actually the art that they've created and co-produced together is going to have an effect in public health, or, like I say, in staff training for a hospital, and they're having a say and helping kind of change or redesign or shape the public services that we all receive. So they're taking part in a participatory arts project that boosts their well-being, and they love that, but the purpose is much greater. And then similarly, we have another program which started in the pandemic called Armchair Adventures, and that's a podcast that we make, and that's it's for children, it's for kids, but it's made by older people. It's made by a group of over 65s. So there's this kind of real intergenerational quality to the work. And they're, like you said, about kind of hammering education agendas, like they're using their lived experience, their knowledge, and you can't get better lived experience than from the knowledge and experience of older people,
100%.
and everything that they've gone through their lives, and through this kind of interactive, immersive podcast, they're sharing that knowledge with the younger generation. And again, the purpose to their involvement is to that intergenerational aspect, that they're creating something for children, and the hope is that communities become more closer together because of it.
It's such a valuable experience. Listen, I know a lot of the problems that we're all facing have been caused by people the same colour as Damien and I, and the same age as Damien and I across the world. I mean, there's no two ways about it. So there's a lot out there that issues that we've caused. So, but there's also a lot of positive stuff that's gone on, and that experience. Once we start losing that experience because we're not recording it in some way, and that's a big thing that we look at as well, then it's a huge loss because you'll never get it back.
I'm just sat here, Paul, thinking I can happily retire now. Andy's just in the last 5 minutes, all the things that because I work with so many different community groups as a consultant, and I'm always telling them, turn your case studies into film, into stories, and take them to the benefits agency, the police, these statutory authorities as an education, because that's how you're going to create change. You're doing it. The two things I'd wrote down here was Armchair and Adventures and Hidden. You've already covered them. It's great, mate, honest. And I have always said every project that we've ever done is your whole aim should be putting myself out of business. You know what I mean? That you're not needed anymore, really.
Yeah.
All right, Damien.
No, mate.
I know what you mean.
What are you trying to say? No, wait, hang on a minute, Andy. What are you trying to say? Are you retiring? Is this your announcement? Live on air.
It's all right. I can come back next week. I think that's how they do things now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, vote you back in. No, mate, I agree. It's just, and the reason you didn't see, when you're saying stuff like that, I mean, I'm sure plenty of people would have sat there and you would have seen this like frown over the face, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm dead happy for you. But it's great to see people doing, in some respects, what we're trying to do. In other respects, just doing what we are doing, but to a part of the community or whatever that we've not been able to get into or whatever. And then all I ever see with stuff like that is how can we work together? I don't say let's put him out of business. Let's put him out of business. Let's take all their people, which is what the charity sector is like.
Yeah, it's tricky.
Oh, it's horrible. It is horrible, that kind of. I mean, it is a business. I mean, I said a bit. It's a business. It is a business, and some people run it like a business. And yet, I think you have to run it like a business to make it last, to kind of future-proof it and everything else to some extent. But yeah,
I think how we try and like our kind of strategy to kind of combat that constant challenge of like funding and things like that is just by keep building this community. So. I talked about who that consists of right at the start, but because it's all about building reciprocal relationships between people, so that not one member of our community is gaining more than they give, if you know what I mean. That it's reciprocal, and the more we can build that, the more people invest in each other as well, invested in themselves, whether that's through participation, through funding, through engagement, through marketing and PR, whatever it is, that people are investing in themselves, but investing in each other and that wider community. And, we want more and more organizations to be doing it, to be honest, because like, that's what we all want, don't we? We want nice places to live with close-knit communities, with people caring for each other. I mean, that's what we all want.
I think we've got ace. I mean, what I do with Mank Made, which is all about supporting creative talent and the production company and everything else. Obviously, it's Manchester centric and everything else, but I'm not. I say this all the time. I'm not blinkered about the place. We've got issues, massive issues in terms of as a physical city. It's the best city in the world. No, it isn't. If you've never travelled, there's plenty of cities much nicer than Manchester, but community-wise. And communities across Greater Manchester, and I've always known this because I've always worked across them. Damien more than me, far more than me in the charity sector, is that we've got amazingly strong communities, but diverse communities.
Yeah.
And generally we get on. We've had our moments over the years, but generally we get on really, really well. And if I see injustice, when there was a story in the news not so long ago in the Northern Quarter, a Sikh gentleman that was just walking down the street, and he was approached by this lad who belted him, He was seriously ill, and the you could tell every community got together and was like, no, this is not this is not happening, and it was that was really good to see. Not the situation, obviously, but it was. I think that's what we're like as communities across Greater Manchester, and that is pretty special, and we don't tap into it enough.
No.
And
that's kind of like by sharing stories, bringing people's experience to life, sharing that amongst the different communities, like that helps, that, doesn't it? I guess.
Oh, there's nothing better than food first, art and music to bring people together, and for them to get them all in one place and forget the differences immediately.
Not football. not football, not in this day. How long have so what if you don't mind telling us, Andy, what's your kind of background and how
so
did you get
myself
involved in
and Paul, so Made by Motors is run by myself and a guy called Paul Hine. We met about 15 years ago or so. My background is in music. I'm a composer and musical director, and Paul's background is theatre. He used to be an actor, but much more of a writer and director these days. And we worked independently as freelancers for years and years across a lot of the big arts organisations around the country, certainly in Manchester, around the country and internationally. And we were often kind of, we were both passionate about participatory arts. And we were often paired together as a kind of composer, theatre maker duo by these orchestras, theatre companies, production companies, etc. We just had a really good friendship, and we produced work that the organisations were happy with, I guess. And we really buzzed off working with each other. And we did that for a long time. And I guess we felt that there was a glass ceiling, or that participatory arts wasn't necessarily given the value by some of the organisations that we work for that it deserved. So just because,
and I bet I could name those organisations as well.
But just because it's a group of older people from Tameside doesn't mean it has to be shit.
Mate,
just because it's
right.
Just because it's for children doesn't mean it can't have the production values that the main theatre house production or the main orchestra has. And it used to kind of piss me off a little bit that you'd feel like undervalued. And also the other thing that we felt was that there's lots of potential for participatory arts to affect change, like I discussed before about like in public services or in PPIE or in bringing communities together. So we felt that we could do more using participatory arts as a vehicle. So about 5 years ago, we decided to kind of set Made by Mortals up, and it came about on the back of a project with Manchester Camerata. They did a project with older people in Tameside. To cut a long story short, we asked them if we could keep the group running, because it only went on for about 10 weeks a year. And we just said, could we keep it going as like an ongoing thing? They couldn't kind of manage that. So we took it on with a partner from Tameside. And that became one of our core groups. And then we were creating shows for children with these older people and touring them around Tameside. We developed another core group, which is for adults with experience of mental health illness. So we had these two core groups running, but we were kind of running the organisation project to project. Like, you get a few grand in to run a project. You spend it on venue and artists and whatever, and you couldn't use it for an office or anything like that. You couldn't spend it on marketing or cookers because the funders, that's really difficult to kind of grow, if you like, or to see where we're going. So the light's just gonna hang on a sec. Yeah, so it was really difficult to kind of grow because you were just going project to project, and then the pandemic happened, and in a very, very strange way, it was the best thing that could have happened to Made by Mortals because it gave myself and Paul space to reflect on where we were going and what our strategy was for the organization.
Mm.
So obviously, when you're running things project to project as well, the organization wasn't as big as it is now at that time. So we were still having our freelance stuff going on. Like, it's really difficult to take a step back and
Stressful, mate. It's
yeah,
massively stressful.
and you just kind of going hand to mouth basically. Anyway, we had no choice. We were from home, and it gave us a lot of time and space to really think about the strategy of how we were going to grow. Obviously, in that time as well, our main aim was looking after the people in those two core groups that we had established a relationship with over the previous 2 years or so. We met them every Thursday pre-pandemic at a local theatre, Guybridge Theatre. And like I say, we were creating shows with them. When the pandemic hit, a lot of those people, well, the first group is an over 65s group. The second group is adults with experience of mental health illness, but also, there's other health complications within the participants in that group. So they were really high up on the vulnerability list of people that could have been affected by COVID. And, fortunately, everyone stayed with us. And in that time, we sought funding to kind of equip people with laptops and tablets and whatnot, so we could do what most people did and just hook up on Zoom every Thursday and connect that way. However, a lot of the people in those groups as well, some of them live in like sheltered housing units, and some were digitally excluded, so they didn't have any access to the internet or didn't have smartphones or things like that.
It's amazing how many housing associations and what have you didn't have access to Wi-Fi, mate.
So we were able to equip quite a few up with laptops and stuff, but there was still some that didn't have anything. So we paid for a free phone Zoom account so that on Thursdays we'd have like 15 or so people zooming in and then another 5 ringing in at the same time. So you just saw like a phone symbol, but Chris or Julia, you could hear their voices and they could hear everybody else's. Obviously they couldn't see them, but they still felt connected to the group. So that was our main priority at first. And then as we started doing our normal drama, music games, having fun, we started thinking about, and we realized that we were in it for a bit of a longer ride than what we initially anticipated.
Yeah.
We started thinking about what we were going to create together, and we weren't just going to, we weren't just going to play games and stuff.
Yeah, you can only play so much bingo.
Exactly. So so what were we going to do? And then that's where the two programs of Armchair Adventures and Hidden were born. And that Armchair Adventures has just gone. Oh well, they've both gone from strength to strength.
I love that. I love the idea of that. Yeah,
Armchair Adventures has blown us away because we we never made a podcast before. I know loads of people turn to podcasting, but we got some great help. I know you met Vic earlier this week, and she worked with us as a kind of marketing consultant and really helped us understand the podcasting world. And we've just launched Series 3 of Armchair Adventures. We won a British bronze in the British Podcast Awards this year. Virgin Atlantic have signed it up as the first kids podcast in their in-flight entertainment. It's just crazy. So, I don't know, Rita from Staley Bridge, who's probably, may have never even been on a plane, is now transatlantic.
Yeah. No, well, Rita will be now sending you a letter saying, "Dear Andy, please send all my money
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I wish it was like that, but as you probably know yourself, like it's well, we with our podcast, you know, we get funding through the kind of making of it. Really,
Yeah.
we don't tend to get, you know, we've had over 50,000 listens, and we're buzzing about that, but you know, we've not got sponsorship or anything like that
No,
yet.
mate,
Yeah.
it's exporting talent. You know, Manchester's always been known as the export, the industrial revolution, blah, 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 blah. And it's the same thing, but it's exporting, certainly with that podcast. And I haven't listened to it, and I will. I think it's a brilliant, it's a brilliant idea. And how many people will just be probably not knowing why they're smiling,
Yeah.
they'll listen to it. And that is invaluable.
It was the same as I was saying. I mean, Vic was, we've known Vic for years and years and years, mate. And she's top. And she had me on the live, grab the mic the other day.
Yeah.
I said on there, people don't realise that this, the Great Man Pod, which we set up to promote fantastic groups across Greater Manchester and creatives and community champions and stuff. It's been listened to in Hong Kong, New York, and we're, you get GMCA and you get them people going, we need to promote Manchester through MIF and it costs a fortune and all that. We're promoting it, you're promoting it, we're showing that we get shit done, but we can do it with a smile on our faces.
Yeah.
And it's just been, well, Manx Spirit are one of the 35 organisations supported by GM Culture as a cultural organisation. So there's, MIF, all the theatres, and there's Manx Spirit. And the festivals that we hold were our bid to get into that. But and it's proven to, and listen, we started our first festival just literally as lockdown started in 2020. But thinking back, and we've said this so many times, like you said, it was a really good thing to happen because it became more inclusive. It did. I mean, you're always going to get people who are going to struggle with getting online, and obviously we same as you, we look to solve that in whatever way we could. Even saying to people, listen, you may not want to go online, but you're going to be lonely if you don't make the effort, and we'll support you to do that. And it's been as blunt as that. It's and not just with lockdown, with everything now going online. So, so I lost my train of thought there. The cats just run past.
No, it was the fact.
It happens when you're old.
Cat.
You just go for cat. But
no, you were saying that we had exactly very similar story, Andy, to what we've been doing, and same views and what number one, it's that mank thing of no, we're not stopping. There's so many organisations and charities and stuff that went on furlough, all went home drinking gin, and we were still grafting.
Yeah,
and it was because there are family, there are people, there are the kids, aunties, uncles, granddads that are struggling out there, mate. So we had to adapt, and we went online, and we started using this kind of equipment that we'd never used before, and we found it's absolute. But we forced a couple of housing associations to actually get Wi-Fi in,
right?
Because it was disgusting. We were doing the sessions and stuff, and I'm like, hang on a minute, Beryl's been sat in that room for the last 5 years without anybody. She don't even go into the communal area. That's not good enough. This is an opportunity now for you to involve more people,
it shed a light on a lot of things that they were looking to keep kind of hidden that suited them. And I think you strike me as the same sort of person. And listen, we can whinge about it, and we did, and we kicked up a fuss about it. But then it comes a point where you go, you know what? Well, we can only do what we can do. Yeah. And we'll just do what we can do, and that's exactly what we did, and work with people that want to work with us, and the ones who were umming and ahhing and going, well, I don't really know if it's right. Okay, see ya. There's loads of people out there, and that's one thing that I've really, really discovered. Even when we started off in Trafford, I live in Trafford,
right?
When you start looking around, you think there's organisations literally just down the street from where I am that I never knew.
Yeah.
They're doing amazing things in the community. So it's a case of just looking a little bit more what's around you, and you don't have to worry about the bigger things happening in Manchester. Happening about look at, and a big part of this festival is volunteering.
Yeah.
And including us, virtually everyone we're speaking to, one of the biggest issues they've got is maintaining and getting new volunteers. Certainly, if they were working with the older generation, various reasons, they've not come back or whatever. Nothing nefarious. They've just, there was a break and they've not come back. So getting new people in is proving really difficult. So, my answer to that is like, well, don't just look in your local area. So there's keep all the negatives out of it. Oh, I can't get a bus over there because, to go and work in the city. Well, you don't have to go to the city centre. Probably, unfortunately, there's a food bank or there's somewhere nearby that you may, and it may not be going in and physically helping out. Maybe you've got a skill that you can offer them, whether it be marketing, whether it be marketing food banks who'd have thought would be there. But, anything like that to get, no matter how small you think it is, it's massive to somebody else. And I think we're all in a position where if that's the best that we can do for the next few years, well, I'll take that. I'll absolutely take that because there's a positivity to it, and we'll help each other.
Yeah.
And if we get the bigger picture is we get help from where we should be getting it, well, fine. But I'm not relying on it, and I don't think most people are. But again, that's just you got to stay positive about it. Can you, in terms of where you are as an organisation at the moment, is there anything that you're looking to develop, to get feedback on, or that we can help you with, or that we can put the message out there? Is anything that you need as an organisation? I know these podcasts should be evergreen, and you should be able to listen to them in 12 months' time and go, "Well, that's still relevant." I don't care about that. We're going to bang this out today, and if someone listens to it and says, "Oh yeah, we can help with that," the same as we've done with others, then that's what we want out of it. So what are you looking for at the moment?
I guess the main things that we are always are looking for in terms of helping to grow our community is obviously the big one is funding.
Yeah.
And we get our funding sometimes through grants and trusts. We get maybe about 50% through commissions, which is obviously good for an arts organisation.
Brilliant, yeah.
It's a constant battle. It always is. Because, like I said before, a lot of funders don't necessarily want to fund PR and marketing. They want to fund the activity. So that's it. That's a battle. I guess the second is we always want more people in our community, particularly participants. So we have two core groups that run on a Thursday at Guybridge Theatre. If you are an older person that's creative and willing to share their imagination, you're more than welcome to come down and have a chat over a brew and a biscuit and help us create armchair adventures.
What biscuits do you have available?
They change every single week.
Right.
Yeah, we don't have
that makes a difference. That makes a difference.
Sometimes it's chocolate fingers, sometimes it's a hobnob, sometimes
all right, I'll put occasionally
digestive.
Occasionally chocolate biscuits are available.
Yeah, that's good. Right. And then in the afternoon on a Thursday, we have that group, Johnny Barlow Theatre Company, who are adults of ranging from, so we have some people in their 20s all the way up to I think the eldest person in it is 78. Right. They all have experience of mental health illness, and like I say, they use their lived experience to help with social change, really. So yeah, we love more participants to come into those two groups. And then I guess the third way that we're always looking for help is through that PR and marketing of our work. So whether that's the kind of the marketing of the podcasts or the PR of the organization. I mean, yeah, just the more you raise awareness of your brand and the services that you're offering, and the more our community grows.
Well, from the marketing point of view, we got a pretty big reach across. We've got them. I mean, this is Mank Spirit, Mank Made. I mean, everything we kind of do the things together, but across all the platforms, there's 25 30,000 followers, and we've got Matt Mader's got the podcasts and the films, and we're doing well with that. We're getting a lot of recognition for it. So all sorts of people are looking on the feed. So I will always. I mean, Damien and I both look after the Manx Spirit Social, and we will definitely promote the stuff that you're doing.
Nice.
Without a doubt, anything that you put out, if you use hashtag MankMade, which is, one of the Manchester-based hashtags in terms of creativity as well. It also means that I'll see it.
Yeah.
Because I can miss something, especially at my age. As you noticed before, where, a bunny rabbit ran past the window and I totally lost my train of thought. But if you use the hashtag, we will absolutely, you don't have to use it all the time, but anything you particularly want us to bang out to, to our platforms, we will.
That'd be great. Thank you.
And working together on projects and stuff like that, we definitely need to have a sit down meet.
Yeah, that sounds good.
About that. Funding, Damien's the funding man, as I call him. That's his background. I'm sure you and Damien can have a conversation. He also does it, that's his other role as well.
I support loads of different community groups and charities across Greater Manchester as a consultant. So
okay, cool. That'd be good.
If you want to have a chat about that, always available to support, and I can put you on the list to send you about 2 days a week. I look for different funding for different organisations, so I'm always banging out emails to people going, "Yeah, what about this?"
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Do you do much with the Arts Council funding wise?
Yeah, we've got a really good relationship with them. I mean, particularly like in light of their new strategy, Let's Create, because that's what we're all about.
Yeah.
So yeah, we've got a good relationship with them. We've had a couple of successful funding bids with them. So that's just kind of ongoing.
That's good.
Are you in for an MPO at the minute?
We're not. We thought about it on that last round, and we went to a few of the meetings like you have to do. And
same here, mate. We did exactly the same.
But we decided against it. We felt like we could achieve what our objectives were without that in that period of time, and I think it was just maybe just a step too far too soon. Like it almost feels like a job for someone to manage that MPO. Do you know what I mean? And
plus the priority areas are more in the northeast and things like that. Anyway, I think is it Wigan and Rochdale or something? I can't remember.
Rochdale or Oldham, I think.
Yeah. So I mean, Greater Manchester is seen as very well funded for the arts when it's actually not.
But Tameside, like obviously I know that Tameside really well compared to the others. Tameside's got one MPO in it, but in terms of arts organisations, I mean, I could count them on one hand. Like, and Tameside as a borough is huge because what's different to Tameside? What's different for Tameside compared to a lot of the other boroughs in Greater Manchester is that there isn't a centre.
Uh-huh.
So, like Tameside,
like Trafford.
Yeah.
Trafford.
So Tameside isn't like it's huge as well. Like you've
massive.
got Mosley at one end of it,
and
then you got Droylsden at the other, or Hyde. I mean, it's miles, and there's no transport it's really disjointed and not connected very well at all. And it doesn't have a cultural centre or an arts centre. And the one MPO, which is fantastic, Global Grooves, they do loads of amazing stuff, carnival arts, and they've got
they're one of the other organisation, Global Grooves,
and they're a great organisation, and they've got a brand new venue called the Vale, but they're based in Mosley, and for people to get to Mosley is really difficult. So anyway, but.
Mate, it's hard enough to get from top Mosley to bottom Mosley, never mind. Any further. They're like two different places, aren't they? You know what I mean?
Some of the statistics around in Tameside with the arts and culture are shocking, and the loneliness statistics as well. We've been involved in there's a survey called the Be Well survey. I don't know if you know of it, and it's basically a survey for children, and it came out with like Tameside being one of the loneliest places for children to live in the whole of the UK.
Jesus.
Like, oh my God. And then, so one of our ambitions is to try and help do what we can to combat that through our arts programs.
Loneliness, as in, I mean, do they define what loneliness is in that? As in, they just feel completely at home. No,
Yeah,
isolated.
and I guess it's in terms of like aspirations as well, and
shocking.
Which is shocking. It is absolutely shocking, isn't it? And you know, and I grew up like not far from Tameside, like just across in Stockport and in Reddish, and you know, I know these communities really, really well, and like that when I hear stuff like that, it blooming upsets me,
you,
man.
doesn't
Like
it?
it's like, and which is why I'm obviously really passionate about this organization, and so I want to do something to change that, like you know. And so when I
grew
see
up in
stuff like
Clayton.
MPO and you know, or what you just said about like Greater Manchester being seen as well funded, well, it's not like.
No, we do. Obviously, we do before these festivals. We do a lot of research and we reach out to people and we try and find what's there to promote what's already there. We're not there. We're not trying to recreate or do what people are already doing. We'll support the fantastic groups that are already in the area. So we go on socials, we're checking YouTube, we're all over the place, reaching out to CBS organisations. We only found you and PAC.
Right.
You know, as creative organisations that are actually doing stuff in the whole of Thames. So that's not just Ashton. And mate, I've searched like Droylsden, Hyde, Ardenshire. You know, I've used every hashtag, every search thing that we can, and that was all we found. You know, that's all we found in the area.
And it's not good enough. It's not for all of us, for all the. You know, there's a lot. I've said this when we spoke to Mark at Pat. You know, I mean, historically there's a lot of creativity come from your part of the world, in terms of bands and music and creatives. There has been. I mean, they may not live there now.
Yeah.
But, you know, the stuff that's generated from there, because I think that kind of working class background develops that kind of creativity. I just think it really does.
You just need a space for it, though, don't they?
Oh, mate, you need a platform.
Yeah.
You need a platform to do it, and this is our big thing. There's tons and tons of creativity out there, and if you don't,
but now more than ever, Paul, because you know all these councils are pinning all their town centre regeneration projects on culture. You know, culture and the arts is seen as an economic driver to reinvigorate the economy, local economy. Well, that's fine if it's going into Manchester, but I've said to Paul, you know, I don't go into Manchester anymore, right? I don't want to get caught in bus lanes. I don't want to be stuck in queues. I can't be bothered getting a taxi. Everything's too expensive. So that local economic, cultural offer is fantastic in some areas, and some areas have really jumped on it, and they're doing brilliant. I mean, Stockport's, you know, Basque is open there, and things have started opening up. Altrincham, you know, they did a massive revamp and took control of their own narrative. But then you look at the whole of Ashton, you know, apart from, I mean, the Stalybridge, they're the town of culture this year. I've not seen anything, mate. Yeah, and I know people in Stalybridge and said, "What's going on up there?" They go,
"Yeah." I mean, to be fair, like, we've had you know, a bit of a relationship with those guys, and we're doing an art installation at the turn of the year based on Armchair Adventures as part of that festival. But when we met them, I think that they got told that they were the town of culture like a month before it was about to start. So
I think that was and absolutely that we kind of gathered that was thrust upon them. I think only because they had to carry it on because they'd done it previously, and it was like, oh well, who's the new town of culture? What we're doing it again. And it's just another.
They only get about 20 grand funding for that as well. It's not massive amounts of investment. You know what I mean?
But again, you know, that's where we are. It just means we've just got to work harder together. And listen, mate, I know you've obviously got things to do. It's been a real eye opener speaking to you. And, actually, I do enjoy a lot of these conversations, but, there are ones you come out where you think, oh, actually, yeah, he's a nice person and everything, but yeah, it's not, still feeling a little bit, what are we going to do? And whereas you come out of conversations like this and you do feel good for it because there's somebody else out there who's younger. It's like Batman having a Robin, when you just think, when I've got to hang the cape up, there's some, but it just so happens to be that Robin is doing more than Batman at the moment, but you're doing amazing things.
Oh, nice one, lads. It's a real pleasure to meet
You're
you.
doing amazing things.
Hook up with you and catch up again soon. Yeah.
Yeah, no, well, let's set something up and you have a good day.
Yeah, you too.
Thanks
But
a lot,
if you want to get out at Tameside, we've already done the festivals in Wigan, Trafford, Bury, Stockport, and we're doing Salford next. So we've got a bit more of a GM reach.
Yeah.
So if you want to work with us, if you've got any ideas for projects and stuff like that, mate, we'll help you. We're not precious. And it's always better if you want to go in for a bigger bid. It's better if you work together. Yeah. I'm always telling community groups that, and they don't listen. Do you know what I mean?
We've learned that as well. Like you bang on.
Oh, don't mess around with the $2,000. What's the point? You're forever writing applications, and there's only project cost in it.
Mate, they don't call him the Mank Yoda for nothing, And on that line, because I need to go to the toilet. This is what happens when you get to my age. All right, listen, you have a good day. It's lovely to meet you, mate.
You too. Cheers. See you later.
Take care,
Andy. See you later, man.
Bye. Thanks for listening to that Great Mank pod. Please do us a massive favour and subscribe to this podcast. And if you can, leave us a review on iTunes. Both are a massive help, enabling us to promote the people and the great causes we champion to a much bigger audience. If you want to get in touch, give us a follow on Twitter at Great Mank Pod and drop us a DM. Cheers.
You're listening to That Great Mank Pod, Greater Manchester's community podcast. Top one,